when I was in college, a lot of my heroes that I listened to who had, phenomenal, powerful single strokes, I would say, "Oh, what did you, how did you work on that? How did you work on that?" And there was a frequent um, refrain of practice on a pillow. And so I did try my hand at the practice on a pillow. Um, and if I'm completely honest, I felt as though I was starting to lose a little bit of the fluidity in my strokes. And so I thought, okay, the practice on the pillow thing is going to get me this power that I'm looking for, but I think I'm going to lose a little bit of the flexibility and a little bit of the flow that I sort of like. Okay, well then what's the opposite of that? Oh, well let's try this particular pad. It's the rubber thing and there's an inordinate amount of bounce and if you just were to hit it off the pad, the stick is going to spring 12 feet into the air. And so I thought, okay, this is too far at the other extreme. And so I wanted something that was going to be somewhere in the middle, not as dead or dry or no. I didn't want zero
Yeah.
feedback.
Bull.
I didn't want zero,
Yeah.
right? But I also didn't want the pad to help me. And so the E-pad to me is the perfect blend of that because it's that. It's not pillow soft, but it's also not an unrealistic rebound. So when I'm playing, not only is it good for quote unquote chops building because of the construction of the pad, but also too, if I've got a gig and I've only got 15 minutes or maybe I've only got 12 minutes to warm up, some singles and doubles get the blood flowing really quickly because the pad is not helping you a whole bunch. You got to work. So that was my initial draw to the pad. The very first time I ever played it, I kind of just thought this is the pad I've looked for my whole life. And subsequently, I've seen other pads. I've played on other pads, and every time that I do, it just reaffirms how much better this pad is than anything else that I've ever seen or played on.
So yeah, I was gonna that was gonna be the loaded question, and I was gonna save it, but you've stepped right into
I
it.
do that sometimes. I answer the next three questions with the first question.
Uh,
I've been guilty of that before, Robyn. I'm sorry.
so now that you've stepped into it, so you've been with EPAD for so long. I'm just curious, have you like been a little tempted to when you've been in a drum store? I I won't tell Ed, but I'm gonna tell Ed that you've gone in and you've maybe taken the sticks out of your pocket and gone over to
This is
another
gonna sound,
pad and
Robyn. This
been
is
disloyal for a second and maybe thought, let me try this out for a second.
Robyn. This is gonna sound like a made-up answer, and I promise you that it is not. Let's say that we are with a partner, and let's say that we are tempted by those who maybe aren't our partner. Frequently, I find that temptation only occurs when your partner is not providing you everything that you want. So when your partner is providing you everything that you want, i.e., mentally, physically, psychologically, in all those ways, you don't really have a need, in my experience, you don't really have a need to look for other dance partners. So
Let me play devil's advocate
because
for a
this
second.
pad, you let me finish devil's advocate. Because this pad provides me everything that I want, I don't feel a need to go look. There's nothing that I'm missing. So if I hit another pad or if I look for another dance partner, there's nothing that they're going to provide that I'm not being provided.
Okay.
Go ahead, devil's advocate.
But you go into a store
True.
and so behind the counter says, there's this new pad and it washes the dishes and it does your chores and it gives you new clothes and it's this incredible and
Yes.
so makes it.
Yes. What's
And
my response
try
to
it
that?
out, Nate.
Sure. Well, first of all, that rarely happens. Now, the context in which that has happened, and I'll be completely honest with you, the context in which that has happened, something that resembles what you're saying, is someone contacts me and they say, I have a drum pad company. We make this particular thing. We'd love for you to try it out. My response would be something along the lines of, I'm with a drum pad company that I love. The chances of you swaying me from that drum pad company are minimal to none. However, if you would like to just send it to me and I will play it and share with you my feedback, I will do that. So that has actually occurred.
Oh,
Literally, that exact scenario has occurred. And not unlike the previous scenario where, you decide, okay, well, I'm going to dance with this person. And then you realize, okay, this person isn't giving me this person not only isn't giving me more than what my previous dance partner was getting, but they're not actually even quite measuring up to what my dance partner was giving me. And so that's happened. Another thing that has happened is a little bit less uh, one level down of interaction, right? I've seen other pads, and there are certain pads that have a bunch of different on the one front of it, they have a bunch of different playing surfaces, and they did a there are those guys whose singles and doubles all occur within the space of a quarter or of a silver dollar or something. I'm not that guy. So if you give me a surface to play on, and it's a 12-inch pad, let's say, but that 12-inch pad is divided into multiple surfaces that make it even smaller, I'm not accurate. Like, that's not the pad for me, you
right,
know? So
right.
the reality is, I kid you not, and anyone who checks this out is going to think I'm on the payroll, and I'm not. This is the best pad I've ever
Like
played.
he'd have one.
Well, but I mean, and it's funny too. You didn't ask this, but I'll answer another question that you didn't ask, which is that this pad is called the NM14. I'm happy to call this the NM14 because I'm not getting a check for X number of dollars to endorse it. I genuinely believe you can't buy a better drum pad, right? So yeah, I mean, it's funny. Sometimes I write things. Some like, hey, so and so is going to be in this particular thing. Would you mind writing a little blurb about them? Sure. And I write something, and they go, that blurb was amazing. And I go, well, it's easy to write it when it's true. So it's very easy to extol the virtues of this drum pad, and it's very easy to say this is the best drum pad available on the market when I truly believe that
Sure,
that is the case.
sure, sure. It's always easy to sell something you believe in.
It is. It's it's
Yeah,
it's and
yeah,
it's easy to take pride in having, your name or your signature or in this case your
right.
initials on it.
And so how did this signature pad come to be?
I've had a relationship. Okay, let's pick up. This pad came to be in the sense that, I've had a relationship with Ed literally a quarter of a century.
So this is Ed Eblin,
This,
who founded the company, who
that is
created
correct.
the prototype and the
That is
pad
correct.
and makes them with his own two hands,
That is correct. I
which
have
is
had a
outstanding.
It is. It absolutely is. I have had a relationship with Ed Eblin since the late 90s when I used to go to his practice facility that he maintained called Drummer's Woodshed. And I would work on, when I had an audition coming up, I would work on parts for songs. So that's how long I've known Ed. And the EPAD relationship with Ed was born out of that. So I have a few of these in my arsenal, right?
Oh
Right,
God.
which is the 12-inch version. So I have the 12-inch version. So I was online and I was looking at the various ePads, and I thought to myself, well, there's a 14-inch version. The 14 would be better. I would love the 14 because you can just lay it on the surface of a snare drum, and it's perfect. Not to mention my aforementioned inaccuracy in terms of, pinpoint accuracy of strokes. So I thought I want a 14, but in this teaching context, I'm playing on an electronic drum set. So when I want to show someone something with brushes, I don't really have the ability to. And so historically, you know, I maybe I go and I get an acoustic snare drum and I try to put it here and I try to do it. And so I thought, oh, well, Ed makes a 12-inch with the brushes texture on the back. So I said to Ed, here it is right here, right? I said to Ed, I said, Ed, I'm torn. I I want a 14-inch pad, but I also dig the 12-inch because it has the textured back where I can work on brush technique and demonstrate brush technique. And he said, "Why don't I just make you a 14 and put the textured brush, you know, surface on the back of that?" And I went, "That's a thing." And he said, "Yes, I can make it so." And so he did, and hence the NM14 was born. So that's yeah, that was the genesis of that.
Amazing. I mean, and that's what relationships at companies, I mean, Ed is a small little thing. And I interview people and I see that, Sheila E. works with Don Lombardi and this one and that one. And they come up with things. And I know how exciting this is for Ed to get to work with you on a product. I mean, that's just, I mean, a star was
Well,
born. And
well, and
this,
it's exciting to me as well. I mean, it's exciting to me as well. I, I, it in my wildest dreams, I never thought like, oh, I'm gonna have a signature drum pad. Like that's kind of cool. So it's very exciting for me as well. And like I said, I can't say this enough, and I sound very much like a broken record, but nothing about this is born out of a financial motivation or anything of that nature. You know, it's truly because I love the thing. And if Ed said, "Hey, let me make you this pad," and he sent it to me, and it was for some reason I don't know terrible, I would have said, "This is terrible." So if
well,
he had
it
said,
was born out of
socially,
practicality. It was
sure,
born out of a need for something that you needed. I mean, it was
100%.
born out of necessity. So
And
that
again,
was makes it valuable.
that gets back to my dance partner who fulfills all the things that I want. I
Right.
love the surface. I love the surface. It's a great workout. I love that it's 14 inches. It fits on a snare easily. It fits on a snare stand easily. I don't need to go and get, some specialized little thing that fits it. I love that it has the brush surface on the back. There's, I mean, I don't know. I don't even know what I would change about it. Nothing. Nothing, you know?
So let me ask you this, Nate.
Yes.
I can see where it would really be valuable in your teaching.
Mhm.
And uh, how does it help you in your, and maybe it's a more general question of EPAD in general, but
Mhm.
how has it helped you get where you have gotten today? I mean, and how does this pad help you in your work on The Voice? I mean, does it do anything to bring you the goods?
Sure. Okay, so that's a two-part question. So get to where I am today, effectiveness on the voice. So the get to where I am today is I mean, I will be 100% honest with you. I'm not, I'm not a, I'm not a chops god. That's not my lot in life. People don't approach me and say, "Oh my goodness, you've got the fastest hands in the world." That being said, could you develop the fastest hands in the world on this drum pad? I reckon so. Hours. It just takes the reps, right? That being said, whatever hands or whatever facility or whatever technique I do have is direct result of the hours spent here on this pad,
Wow.
right? So the fact that I believe this pad has enabled me to split the difference between the obnoxious amount of rebound versus the zero rebound pillow, right? And when I say split the difference, what I mean is I think that it has allowed me to develop technique that creates power vis-a-vis I'm not relying entirely on rebound, right? So it's allowed me to develop technique that creates power. At the same time, it's allowed me to maintain the flow and looseness and flexibility in my technique as well. So that's what has helped me in terms of what I do on the kit and how I apply it. That's what's helped me move from point A to B to C to D to et cetera in terms of progression as a player. In terms of specificity in its use on the voice, it lives beside me. It lives beside me to my left. And a TV show is a unique gig. If you're doing a tour, you may go out and play an hour and 15-minute set, hour and 90-minute set, hour 30-minute, set, more, right? Or even less, whatever, 45 minutes. Of that set time, you're probably playing most of it. So you warm up, you go on stage, do your set. There's probably not a ton of downtime where you're just sitting like, oh, right. So you're probably playing and you're staying warm and the blood is flowing, etc. On a TV show, you may warm up because you're like, okay, guys, we're counting down, 60 seconds left, it's showtime, okay, and you're loose and you're playing and you're warmed up and you're ready, and they say, and five, four, three, two, and then you start that song. You play that song. It's 2.5 minutes long or it's 3 minutes long. Well, then maybe you're going to sit for 8 minutes before you play again. Maybe there's a commercial break, there's a contestant package, they get comments from this coach or that coach before you play again. I turn to my left, I'm playing paradiddles, I'm playing singles, I'm playing doubles. You know what I mean? I'm just keeping the blood flow by virtue of the fact that the pad is right beside me. Something I haven't mentioned previously about the pad, it's pretty quiet. Right? It's pretty quiet. Now, granted, there's not a mic over here or whatever, but I mean, if I just put it here in my lap, and then let's turn down this. It's not very loud.
I can't
So
hear
when
it.
there's a studio audience and they're making noise, and when there's incidental music playing, or when the coaches are talking and they're this close to their mics, you don't hear this. So I can be sitting back here doing my thing
Wow.
and staying warm, and then when the next 5, 4, 3, 2 comes, I'm good. I'm ready for it. I'm warm. Uh, you know. So that is the specific application of this pad on the show. Outside of just warming up, obviously. It's funny. I'll tell you. I'll tell you a really quick story. I've got a fabulous friend. You may know him. His name is Tony DiAugustine, and Tony is an outstanding drummer. And I met him more years ago than I want to admit because it will evidence how old I am, right? But I met Tony many years ago, and at the time I was playing with Dale Bozio from Missing Persons,
Ah,
right? So this would have been the mid '90s, and when you're playing with Dale Bozio, everyone is watching you with an eagle eye to see how close you're going to come to recreating what Terry Bozzio did,
oh
right?
God.
Or those chops or those fills or that solo or whatever. So you kind of have to rattle around the kit. You kind of have to be able to rattle around a little bit. So I do my best to do that. I'm walking out with my buddy Tony, and Tony says, "Hey man," and Tony's a little older than me, and Tony says to me, "Hey man, before you go out and you play like that, what do you do to warm up?" And I said, "Warm up?" And he looked at me and said, "Oh, you're cute." So that was when I was younger. That was when I was in my late 20s, right? In my late 20s, warm up, swarm up. I'll just go out and blaze. I'm good. Well, now I'm a little older than my late 20s. And so now, yes, it is required that I warm up. I need to get the blood flowing. If I just had to walk out on stage and turn it up to 11 and go from the downbeat, yeah, I know I'd be in traction by the end of the night. I'd be in the hospital. So this pad is fabulous for that. So let's go one step slightly further and bring this in for a landing. On the show, it lives beside me between songs in commercial breaks. I'm on it. I'm staying warm. I'm staying loose. Before the show, I like to have in a perfect world, in a perfect world, give me 25 minutes on this. Give
Wow.
me 25 minutes. Give me 25 minutes and and it's funny because I remind myself at that point when I'm about to play the show, I'm not chops building. I'm not chops building. I'm not going to get my singles in that 25 minutes before the downbeat. I'm not going to get my singles from 109 BPM to 112 BPM. That's not going to happen in 20 minutes before the show or 25 minutes. I just want the blood flowing. I want the blood flowing, And this is going to be really, I don't know if I should even admit this, but sometimes when I do get the blood flowing, number one, I feel the warmth. I feel my forearms
Mm.
warm, like physically warm, not like, oh yeah, I'm warmed up. Like physically, they are warm. And I look down and every now and then I see like a little vein in my arm. And I'm like, oh yeah, okay, we're ready. You know,
Oh,
yeah, and that kind of goes through my head. So that is the service and role that this pad plays when I'm working on the show.
well,
Sorry,
no,
that was a lot. That was a
you are
lot.
so good.
Yes, well, I'm fortunate to have been asked a few questions a few times, and so I enjoy doing this. Yes, I do, and I enjoy sharing information.
Well, Nate, this is actually perfect.
Wow.
And I think you should go eat dinner.
Yes, that is on the docket.
And I think I missed you.
Uh, Now, well, and I'll say this, and please, I did this before when we got to chat many years ago, and I came out to your place and we chatted for your program that you were doing at that point, and I said this to you then, and I'll say this to you now. It is what I don't even know what the word is I even want to use. I mean, amazing is too like that's an overused term, but the fact that I get to sit with the same person who interviewed all of my heroes for so many influential and meaningful and encouraging and enlightening articles, and like now I'm sitting here chatting to you. I mean, I don't I I have no words.
Pish posh.
No words. No words. No words. No
And
words.
yet I'm in awe of you. So there
Stop
you
it.
go.
Well, the feeling is mutual. The emotion is mutual.
So go eat dinner.
I
I
will.
hope we get to see one another again way sooner than it's been.
Sooner than yes,
Okay.
yes, yes,
All
yes.
right. Make
Definitely.
a
Yep.
promise.
Done.
Hugs and kisses, and we'll talk soon.
Absolutely. Thanks,
Thanks,
Robin.
Nate.
Of course. My pleasure.
Mwah. Bye.
Bye.